Now, if you want to buy a car, how long does it stay? You don't have to, $2,000 a month. 10 months you can pay that, buy a $20,000 car. This is the key. How easy would your life be if you had no car payment, no mortgage payment, and no credit card payments? All of your income, all of this accelerated margin, all of this, your $3,000 take-home income becomes $3,000 of your own money that you can spend on anything you want. What I recommend is right off the bat, you're taking half of this and you're putting it in retirement, because the faster you get to retirement, the less you have to work, unless you love your job, and we won't go through all of that. But the point is that you want to save. You can go on vacations. You can do whatever you want. All of this money. That's how simple the plan is. You just need to stay focused, and you just need to find ammunition. All right. Now, a couple of ways to do this. You're probably thinking to yourself, well, I might not be able to do this. How am I going to, I spend money on this. We can't control ourselves. My wife spends here. My husband spends here when I'm not there, and I don't know what I'm going to do and how we can control. Okay, well, then step one, determine your monthly spending budget. Simple and plain as that. Honey, I need $50 a month because I go to tan spa, or I got to get my nails done or my hair done. Well, I don't have to get my nails or hair done, but my wife does, so she needs to know how much she's going to spend on her monthly budget of things. Don't cut yourself completely out. I know it gets addictive with the snowball method because you want to pay it down, but you still have to enjoy your life with the little things that you'll enjoy to do. The important things to keep yourself healthy and feeling good about yourself, because if you start getting down on yourself, it's not going to do any good. So be honest. Create your monthly spending budget. Out of that, you're going to take cash out of it and put it into an envelope for each one of your expenses. There'll be a food envelope, gas, electric, uh, hair, whatever, clothes. Put cash in for each envelope. This is called an envelope system. Why? Because you only have what's in that envelope to spend. And when you're out, you either have to take from another envelope, or you don't get to any more from that envelope. So it's a good method to control yourself if you have trouble controlling yourself. All right. Once the cash is exhausted, that's pretty much it. You're going to either have to take from other envelopes to make the payment, or it'll help you to discipline your spending. It really will, because you can't spend on credit, and what you don't have, you can't spend. All right. During the cash method, store your credit cards, or give them to someone that you trust not going to use them. But get rid of your credit cards. If they're on hand, there's too much of a temptation. Don't carry them with you. Put them in a place that's hard to find. Don't close those accounts. But whatever you do, like I said before, some people freeze them in a can of water. It takes a few minutes of running water to get rid of them, get them back out to use them. Sometimes that could be enough to distract you from using them. But get rid of them. Don't put them anywhere near you. Have somebody else watch them or hold them for you. Have a parent or grandparent, your aunt or uncle or cousins or whomever that isn't going to spend on them. And don't have them around, because there's too much of a temptation. Remember, don't close the accounts. It's bad for your credit. Even if you don't use them, don't close them. That's the worst possible thing you can do. You don't want to destroy your credit. And I don't want you to not use credit in your future once you've gotten yourself out of debt, because there's a lot of good beneficial programs that you could use with credit. So let's worry about your credit. Don't shut those off. When you're doing your budgeting, understand your needs from your wants. Put off wants temporarily, or substitute activities that are free and beneficial. Exercise, read, talk to one another, spend time with your friends, your family, play games, learning, etc. Anything that you can do that's not going to cost you money, do. Those are the most enjoyable things that you have in your life anyway. It isn't the things that cost money that are most enjoyable. It's spending the time and quality time with people you love that becomes the most valuable things in our life. And remember, all additional cash at the end of the month goes to pay off debt while you're in the cash budget. So let's say you got an extra $100. Well, you can do two things. You can either reward yourself by going out to dinner with that $100, or you can use it to pay down on the debt. And if you've worked that hard to save an additional $100 that month, well then, just like in business, if you didn't make your budget and you went under budget, you're not going to get that money next year. Well, now guess what? Even if you did a wonderful job this month, the next time you make your budget, now your budget's going to be $100 less because you're going to add that budget to your ammunition because you saved it before means you can save it again. I don't care what the circumstances are. That's the way it works in the business world. That's the way it has to work for you. The traditional snowball budget, really, you're just determining your monthly budget. You stop incurring any new debts. You stop using your credit cards completely. Completely. Organize your debts from the highest interest rates to the lowest. You want to pay the highest ones off first, no matter what the balances are, no matter how long they take. Those cost you the most. Once you pay off one debt, while paying the minimum on all the others, if it's possible to pay interest only on other loans if you have to, fine, then do that. Pay that off one at a time, okay? And, and minimum payments on everything else until that is paid, then you move to the next debt and you continue paying minimum payments on everything else. You move from debt to debt until all of your debts are paid off, one after another. It can take you 4 years, it can take you 7 years. If you go by the statute of what the debt to income ratio of what creditors will normally borrow somebody with the type of income that you may or have, it should take you no longer than 10 years. 10 years, and this is with the most debt that you could possibly incur, to pay off all of your debts with your debt to income ratio of what banks should allow you to borrow at. So it should not take you more than 10 years. And I know, see, 10 years might seem like a long time, depending on how much debt you incurred, but there are raises that you're going to get in your salary. I know things go up because of inflation, but there's always ways to save money, and there's always ways to pay down debt faster. All right? Begin saving that ammunition in a stable investment or some liquid investment to purchase large items in the future. All right, after you've done this, you want to put it in something where you can get it out, but you don't want that money sitting in the mattress because it's not making money. You need it in some type of investment that you can get out, not a house. Okay, that's a bad investment. You have to sell the house to get it out. So, for example, if you pay a car payment in the savings account for 3 years, once you save enough for that car, then pay it off. Then buy a car with cash. And don't buy a car that you have to include payments, pay cash, and then get a credit, and pay payments on that cash. Then get a less expensive car. Don't ever buy a new car either because you're losing minimum $4,000. Buy a used car or a certified used car. It's going to save you $4,000 or $5,000 right off the bat. You want to move away from using credit cards in the future in this, unless, now there's one debatable issue here. If you have credit cards that have bonus miles or they pay you cash back, then you want to use those type of credit cards because you're going to actually get cash back. By this time, once you've paid off your debts or paid the majority of it down, you've now created habits to become responsible. Responsible spending. Once you become responsibly spending, then get yourself a credit card that gets you cash back at the end of the year. Make sure you read all the fine print and use that credit card to pay as much of stuff off as possible because you're going to get it cash back for it or reward mileage or whatever. All right? If you can, with the traditional method, you want to pay cash for everything. Whether or not that's realistic, that's part of the traditional snowball method. The loan or budget or HELOC system's a little bit different. It still has the method of snowball, but what you're doing with this one is you're going to use a home equity line of credit or a loan to then pay off your debts. So this budget really takes good credit and discipline. If you don't have good credit, if you're not a disciplined investor or disciplined with your budgeting, don't really try it, okay? But if you are, then, it's here as I wrote, only attempt this if you're a disciplined saver and a streak of bad luck hits you, you might put yourself in a debt, sickness, injury, divorce, or so forth. That might have what caused you. You're already disciplined, but something bad has caused you to put yourself into debt, then you can use this system. What you're going to do is you're going to take out a HELOC or a home equity line of credit and pay all about your outstanding debts on that HELOC. And this could also be your first mortgage if you can afford to roll it into the plan. And the reason why you're going to do this, and people say, well, why in the heck would you put everything into your home equity line of credit? Well, usually that interest rate is very low. Also, if you're disciplined enough, you don't pay amortization. A HELOC or a home equity line of credit, you pay interest on the amount you borrowed over that period of time. So after each 30 days, you pay, let's say, if you're paying 3% interest or 5% interest, you only pay 5% on what you've borrowed. Whereas in a traditional mortgage and 5%, the beginning you're paying off the interest under the amortization. HELOC, you're paying it over time. In a HELOC method, they're hoping that it'll take you longer than 30 years to pay it off. In a traditional method, you only have 30 years to pay it off, but they're getting all their interest, the banks, up front. So if you're disciplined, you can do this. You pay off your house in 10 months, and you'll save even more money on your mortgage, okay, on the interest on your mortgage. You definitely have to create a strict budget and stick to it. Stop using high interest credit cards and don't close the accounts again, okay? You have to be strict, and even though you paid off your credit cards, don't use them. Now with the loan bunching, every paycheck you get paid, you pay it completely to your home equity line of credit. Okay? So every check, your $3,000, that check goes right to the HELOC, the home equity line of credit. How am I going to pay my bills? You then use the credit on the HELOC to pay your monthly bills out of it. In this case, you're paying twice towards the month. You're borrowing back from it, but you're paying the loans down quicker because you're paying it twice instead of once. You're borrowing money in a shorter term, and you're paying it all your debts down quicker. All right? With the substitute high interest loans and amortizations on mortgage with the low interest loans, we're interested calculated over a daily basis. So therefore, you're not paying. I explained that before. You're not paying that amortization or all that interest first. All additional money will be continuously paying down the debt. If you stick to the budget and only pay your loans out of the budget or out of the HELOC, okay, in a line of credit, and you're putting your whole check in there, every additional penny that you have will be paying down your debt. All right? This method, you'll save thousands on interest payments. Although you must be determined and dedicated, you'll save lots and lots of money. Thousands, maybe $100,000 in interest payments on this method if you stay disciplined and if you have the credit to be able to do it. There's also the credit card budget. Now these all come up under the same snowball effect and same snowball method, but there are different ways to benefit from it. With this method, it takes decent credit and additional focus as well. And really what you're doing on this method is you're going to organize your debts and transfer all of your debts to one of the credit cards with the lowest interest rates. Hopefully you won't use that one. You might have 0% or whatever the case is. If you have good enough credit, it shouldn't ding your credit too much with this by putting it all and having one of it, but you're going to be paying that down. You're going to open a credit card that has a cashback rewards with a decent type of limit on it. All right, if you can, but you want a cash back. This credit will be used to paying all of your monthly bills. So all of your bills are going to be paid on one credit card. All of the other ones are on a low interest credit card, probably a zero interest for a certain amount. You're not using that credit card because if you use it a lot of times, as soon as you use it, you start paying interest on all of the money that's on it. And now you will focus your ammunition on a credit card that has all of your additional debt on it until it's destroyed. Okay, so you've put it all of this, you're putting all your debt onto one credit card. All right, all your transfers of your other debt that you can onto your lowest interest rate credit card. In that case, if you can, sometimes you can't put everything on there. But the ones that you can put it on the credit cards, maybe your credit card debt's transferred all into one and focus on that one. The other ones you're paying off all of your monthly bills and getting cash back for. So you do have more than 8 years. Now, what do you have? You have a $1,710 a month ammunition that is going to pay anything you want to pay. You don't have to pay. You have nothing left to pay.